Hello everyone, it's the Alchemical Crafter here. Today I'm going to work in my book, my altered book, A Crafty Roll. And first thing I got to do is roll for prompts. And hopefully we get some new ones. So, a 3, a 6, oops, that was a 6, there, 13, and 18. Let's see what we got. So, orange is a 3. Embossing. Pink is a 6. Cartography. Nice. Green, 13. Signpost. Okay, I guess I could work with cartography. And blue, 18. Weathered rest. Okay, I'm thinking antique map with an interesting signpost on it. I don't know. So I'm going to collect the stuff and think of an idea, and I will be right back. Okay, I've collected all my stuff, and I'm going to go over with it here in a second, if I can speak. But first, I've prepped my page. I normally go over this with gesso, and I did a little bit, see if you see the white parts. But I wanted to see the print on this one, so I went over all of it with clear gesso, and then I came back over on parts to cover, you know, the big words, because they have no point of reference with what's going on the top of the page, because this book is about plants and the care of them, and the page is about maps. But I wanted to do this while this was still wet. I'm going to put some vintage photo on this and spray it down, and I'm going to set it aside for a minute. I just wanted, because this is supposed to be weathered, so I want it to look old. Okay, and I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry as is. So, I wrote my prompts down somewhere, and then I set it aside. So, I may have to do that again, but I think I can remember what they were. So, embossing was one, and I have an embossing ink pad, but I also have this dabber. And I also have this pen. And I think I'm going to be using the pen, but my idea may change, so. And then I also have clear embossing powder, white embossing powder. These are the ones I have that I thought would work with this, but especially the antique linen embossing powder, because weathered and old, antique, and I'm going to try to use that. And I wish I had my list. Oh, I know. There it is. It was on top of the stack. So, cartography. I love maps, so this was not a problem for me at all. I have a ton of supplies of this. I have all these little things that I usually use to make backings for cards with. So I have all of these options here. I also have these big options. This is really cool. These are thinner papers though. And I think for what I want to do, I want to use one of the thinner papers. And since I'm antiquing it, I don't know that this one, I mean, it probably would work, but I'm going for more of this color. And I can make this one or this one look old. But this one has that on it, and this one just actually looks like a map. So we'll start with this one. I'm going to bring out, or I had another thought. Just, give me a second. I'll cut this part out for you guys. But I'm thinking about the embossing, how I want to do that. And that may change my idea in the maps. You know what? I'm going to use this one. And I'll explain why later. But I'm going to... First, I'm going to make it the size of the book. What is the size of the book? Let's find that out real quick. Well, that's another thing. It's not big enough for the book. Okay. I got an idea. We're going to use all of this. Except that at the very top. Nobody wants that. But if you like this map, I got it there. Okay. So, it's an antique, so it's been around a while. I would say try not to tear it, but tearing might actually be good. Oh, look, and I did. Solves one of my problems. Because this map is not big enough for my book, so I was going to spread it out anyway. So, okay. Now, we're going to deal with the signpost later. Right now, we're working on the cartography, embossing, and weathered rust. But first, weathered rust. So where is this? The vintage photo again. And I also have some walnut stain. But I don't actually want this to cover up the entire page. I don't want that page. So we're going to do some dabbing of it off. I'm going to be doing a lot of dabbing. This is what these pages are kept around for. Okay, and while this page is still wet, I'm going to find a tool. You know, since this isn't really this is already coming apart, so right here we're gonna And really, honestly, since this tore apart here, all of this needs to be a little torn. I do think I'm only going to be able to use this much of the, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe this was a treasure map. Edges are always a little rough on these maps. It's where they get handled the most. I'll put this down a little bit more. It's dry enough on me already. I hope you can see all of this map. Let me move it up a little bit for you. See what I'm doing at the bottom. Or it's too big. I'm gonna bring it. There we go. Just a little bit more for you guys. There we go. I just tore this little bit in this corner down here. Is probably what you didn't see. Problem is, each side of my book is 7. So, let's go ahead and get rid of the top part of this. I think if you do the crinkling on one of these, I would wet it down like this first and then crinkle it after it's dried a little bit, because if you don't want that tear. It actually worked out for me just fine because it's not big enough for the page anyway. So I'm going to put some of those wrinkles back in because with the water they all went away. And I'm going to dry this, air dry this, and I'll be right back. So I think I'm deciding that one side is going to have the signpost, and since this doesn't really have, and it's mostly water, I think I'm going to put my signpost over here. And I'm going to try something, but I'm going to try it. Actually, I can try it now. This is mostly dry. So my antiquing, I was thinking, but I don't know. I've never used this before. I was thinking about just using it along the edges a little bit. But before I do that, see these, what I've torn out? See how they're lighter? I don't want them lighter. I want them darker. So, pardon my face if that's in the camera. going to grab this little guy. This is ground espresso. You can use whatever you want. You can use vintage photo, but I've already used vintage photo on the page, so I want these to look like little burn spots. Like maybe he dropped the map in a fire and it's like, oh, no, no. I don't know why it's a he. I'm thinking a pirate has this map. Again, I don't know why I think it's a he. Probably because back in the day, most of them were. I even need the smaller one. Where's the smaller one? There it is. This guy is adorable. Look at some of these where I've left some of the torn parts still on it. You can either get both sides or not. He's had this for a long time. It gets waterlogged, soaked, barely holding itself together. And at one point, he was fighting with somebody over it, and that's how the map got torn. The things that go on in my head, I don't know. This is how I think. That is looking very, very weathered and worn. I think I've succeeded on the weathered worn. Nothing like destroying the pages you buy. But I do love maps. I just think, especially making them look like this. This is my favorite kind of map. It's an old antique one. Let's just try this here a little bit. That one versus these others. Well, I'm really pleased with how that came out. I'm going to do this dabber. Just knocking it all off. Yay, I see it holding. Oops. Okay. So that's the edging. I really like the way it looks on the edge. I kind of want to do it to the whole map, but I think that's overkill. So we're just going to leave it on the edge. And I'm going to do the other side. And I will jump right back when it's done. Or I may bring you back for the embossing part because that's cool to watch. I don't use my embossing glazes very often. So I really love their effect though. So I love it when I get a chance to mess with them. And I can use them more often than I do. I just never think about it, which is what this prompt is all about. Reminding me I have things to use. I do love the way that it looks, like almost like it's gotten wet. And you know what? I'm going to do the areas around these holes as well. Just because I really like the look. I was going to draw a line for X marks the spot for some kind of a treasure with my white one. But I don't think I'm going to do that now. At least not yet. What I'm wondering, what I like to do with my pan pastels is when I crumple up paper, I run it along the edges to emphasize lines. And I'm trying to decide if that's going to run the antique look. And I think it may. But that doesn't say I can't use these. I do like I'll try this. I usually do this with my fingers, but I'm kind of tired of my fingers getting all messed up. That wasn't even part of the prompt. I just wanted to use them, so because I saw them. And I think that gave the edges long enough to dry to do the ground display. You guys go places for your vacations, or do you stay home? Oh, some of you may just, a lot of you probably maybe are even retired, and so vacations is when a chance you actually get to go out of the house. I think that's what my husband and I are going to do when we get older, I should say. Let's just take the car and drive around for a while. See the country. Kind of surprised me when I realized my husband had never seen the ocean. I'm like, when I was growing up, my dad, instead of getting bonuses in the winter, my dad's company always gave them bonuses in the summer, which I think was a cool idea. It's not cool for Christmas, but that way my family got to go on vacation every summer. He used his bonus for the family, and so we always went to a different place every summer when I was growing up, and I never realized how privileged we were to get that chance. And I will always be grateful that Dad chose family over possessions. Because he could have used that money for other things. He didn't. That really brightness right there. Now I gotta think of a signpost. I also thought about using a rose compass. That could technically be a signpost because it gives you directions, north, south, east, and west. That's my husband coughing, if you can hear him. He got out of the shower. I think I've done everything but that. Cartography, embossing, weathered rust. Okay, yep. Okay, now we just have to do the signpost. I could just make some lovely Rosa. Want to call it a Rosa Sharon. I don't know what. It's a compass rose. I gotta figure out what it's called. And I've always wanted to draw one, but I never have, and they can be very intricate. Maybe I'll do that one day, but let's do one challenge at a time. I want to do a signpost right here, a normal signpost, because I have to write my props down somewhere. And I thought the signpost would be a nice place to do it. So I haven't collected the stuff for that yet because I wanted to see how this looked when I was done. So I'll cut right back in as soon as I figure out what I'm doing. So for this signpost, I cut out this long strip of paper. It's just cardstock and it's just browned. I've done this before with this cardstock. I'm just going to kind of put some wood grain on it with one of my archival pens. I'm not a pro at this, but it I thought I'd use another road map thing for my signs, road signs. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but we're going to try it. But first, I'm going to spray some of this oxide on it. I need more water in my water bottle, so I'm gonna let this sit on this for a second while I go fill this up. I think it was Louise Heinzel who, I watched a video of hers that said to use this when you're trying to make things look old and stuff, and I really liked that video of hers. That's why I got this, because I would have never gone to that section to buy paints before. So this is dry now, but it's all wrinkly, so I'm just trying to straighten it out a little bit. If I had time, I would just set it in the book for a while. I don't normally have the time. And I don't know what this green is going to look like next to the patina, but we're going to try it. Try it on this corner over here. Yeah, it just adds another layer. This rusty hinge. It's a very strong color. Just gonna lightly try to lightly brush it. And vintage photo. I'm not going to mess with that yet because I'm obviously not going to use this entire page. And I may put more of those colors on there. But I did the entire page because I am notorious for screwing up when I'm writing. And I'm going to write these things, hopefully in a straight line. Actually, there are lines on this page. I don't know if you can see them. Basically the lateral and the, what's the other word? That do the lines on the map. So I'm going to use those because nothing says I have to do it this way. I'm going to use those lines to write my words on. That way I'm guaranteed to make them straight, in theory. I'm going to do these all in caps too. When I got married, I didn't do a traditional wedding. I hate the stress and the drama of it all and the money that you spent on them. But I wanted to have fun with it. And so everybody got to wear whatever they wanted. And I'm looking for scissors. There they are. Everybody got to wear whatever they wanted. And a lot of people were crafty. And my cousin made all these signs that were adorable. And my niece made this road sign that I still have in the corner of my craft room. My cousins are all over the house, but she just made this one thing, and it's in my craft room because it has it's a signpost with a bunch of little signs of different worlds, like, because I'm a gamer. So like there's Star Trek, and I'm just reading these: Witcher, Tatooine, Starfleet, just locations and different games and just videos, and I just love it. I'm going to start with the biggest one. And so that's why signpost was on my little list, because I've always wanted to create one. This one was a little bit awkward. Oh wait, I do need that one. So now I can see if these need a little bit more rusting, which I think they do. Like this one doesn't show any. I can do some up here. You know, there's another thing to say about weathered. These look a little bit too perfect. These have been out there for a while now, so they should be torn and tattered just like that map is. There it is. It's like I have this that I bought a while back, and I never use it. Let's see if it works. don't know if this was worth the money I spent on it. I mean, it does the job. Don't get me wrong. It does the job. But, I mean, I could just use my scissors like I was using. But, hey, I paid for it, so I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. Anyway, but cartography at the top because it's so long. You know, it doesn't have to be that long. I can make it shorter. Withered. Embossing. Withered. Signpost. You know what? It's still too long for me. I don't like it. Okay. Let's get these glued down. Before we do, I really should do it in pen. think I'm just going to leave it with that. It's not much of a map, but I start overthinking and then it will be here forever. And we've already been here forever, so we're done. We're done with that. You know, there's some projects you do and you're like, I guess it'll do. And then there's some that you're like, I absolutely love this page. And this is one of those. I love this page. I love the way this map turned out. And this signpost is cute enough to get that and to get the prompts in. And everything else I did about this page, I absolutely love. So I am pleased. And I can't always say that about the stuff I do, but I am pleased today. But that's okay. It's okay that I don't always like everything I do, because I like the fact that I tried it. And more often than not, even if it was a failure, I learned something in the process. And that's why we do this. And I could do that there and put the signpost here. But I think I really just like it in the middle. I love that map. That's my favorite part of today's project. Okay. I thought I didn't want this signpost to be so tall, but now that I have it in here, I wish it was all the way up there. So give me a second, and I'm gonna find something to make this go higher. I did get a whole bunch of new little ephemera pieces. And the reason I'm allowing myself to use them here is because I didn't buy them for this. I just bought them because they were cool looking, because I like maps. So that looks like somebody's getting ready to go on a journey. But I don't, can you see that? Got their bags packed. They're ready to go walk around. Oh, and here's the rose compass. Okay, yep. That's what we're doing. I wanted one of those on here. Oh, and here's an X marks the spot. I want a compass. Okay, we can maybe not use all of those, but we're going to use some of them. Maybe up here where this really isn't part of the map, we can put this rose. We got our light, we got our books and maps. Got our backpack and we got our compass. I think we are good to go. And that can raise our signpost up. I like that. I'm going with it. This is a little bit too yellow for the rest of the page. Just brown that right up. That is a little better. Weathered is so dark. Okay. Because it's weathered. Right? Okay, let's get the signpost down and we'll start going stuff down. I toyed with the idea of making this three-dimensional, but I'm not that talented, so we're just doing this. This isn't cut straight, so I'm trying to make it straight with that. Make sure these aren't stickers. And they are. Okay. This one goes down first. I want to go put something to go right here. Oh, it's got a little picture right there. I'm going to use this. These are stickers, but and they're removable, so I don't know how well they're going to stick. When I first got these, I was like, oh man, those are smaller than I thought they'd be. But it's actually good because I'm running really low on my small ephemera. There we go. Which way is north? That's north. Don't want to hide any of my weathered spots, so we'll put that there. And I can put the X over here. We won't put that on yet. Let's put the signpost. Cartography goes first. It's the biggest still. I think we nailed the cartography of this map, of this project today. Embossing. I'm going to zigzag the arrows. Weathered rust. I think it can just go straight like that. And signpost. See, these aren't really sticking very well, so we're going to help them out. I kind of like that they're not permanent stick. It's because, as you saw with that, I didn't pat it down where I wanted it initially, but it does set things in place so that I can work around them. So I think I actually prefer that from the normal type of stickers. I've used to think I wouldn't, but I see the benefit of it. And when I'm ready, I can glue them down. I just think just together. Oh yeah, it's a sticker. I do that every time. So here's the day's project finished. The prompts were cartography. I think we nailed that. Embossing, which is what I did around the edges, and here on the holes in the maps. And the weathered was the holes in the map, and just scrunging it all up, including this, just to make it look really old. And signpost, which is this right here. So I'll give you a close-up of all of this. I really like these new things that I got. I'll link them. And I like that I didn't white out the background so you can see the words in the background. Boy, that signpost has been out there a long time. That's really grungy. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you next time.